Hi, so we're in section 1.4 and we're working on division of whole numbers. Okay, so I'm going to write down a simple division problem and then identify some terminology. So we have some words to use when we work with division problems. Okay, so I'm going to look at 35 divided by 7, and that's equal to 5. And by the way, I know that because 7 times 5 is 35, all right? I'm going to talk about division, checking and that in just a moment. So this number here is the dividend. And this number here, the 7, is called the divisor. And finally, your answer is called a quotient. So we have a dividend, a divisor, and a quotient. And we say, ooh, look at that. Make that a little clearer, right? 35 divided by 7 is 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit more complex problem. I want to divide and check. And the problem I want to divide and check is 3024 divided by 6. Okay, so I'm just going to remind you guys, again, stuff that likely some of you remember, but if it's been a while since you've done this kind of a arithmetic without a calculator, then we might have to think through things a little more slowly. We draw this little division box, and on the inside, we write the dividend, 3024, and we're going to divide by 6. The 6 does on the outside. So we're going to continue to ask the question, does 6 go into? Does 6 go into 3? No. Does 6 go into 30? Yes. 6 into 30, or 30 divided by 6 is 5. And I'm going to put the 5 above the 0. So I put the 5 above, that's the number I picked up. So I start with that 0 because that was the what 6 went into. I can kind of box it off a little bit there. So 5 times 6 is 30. And we write that underneath and subtract. We get a 0. Okay, next step in the algorithm in the process of division is to bring down the 2. So I'm going to bring it down. With an arrow, you don't have to use the arrow. I won't use it a lot, but just, to get started, to remember where that 2 comes from and where it goes to. The 6 go into 2. It does not. It goes into 2 0 times, so we could put a 0 there. 0 times 6 is 0. We subtract and we get a 2. Now we're going to bring the 4 down. 6 goes into 24. 6 times 4 is 24. So we put the 4 up here. And we multiply 4 times 6 is 24. We do the subtraction and we get a 0. So what we have is that the quotient is 504. So 3024 divided by 6 is 504. The problem also asks us to check. So let's go ahead and check 504 times 6. If we got it right, when we do this multiplication, we will come back out with the dividend, the 3024 number. Okay, 6 times 4 is 24. So you put down the 1's digit and you carry the 10's digit. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. And 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so that checks. Great. All right, we'll try another problem. Okay, the next problem up is 49,021 divided by 7. And I'm going to use a different notation for division. I'm going to use the fraction bar notation for division. Remember, in multiplication, we had a dot or multiplication sign. And in division, we have either the division sign or the fraction bar. So getting used to multiple ways of writing and reading these problems. 49,021 divided by 7. I wrote it using the fraction bar notation. I'm going to also write it using the division sign. And now I want to write it in the division, in the little division box. Okay, good. So we're going to do the same process or algorithm that we used in the previous problem. 7 goes into 4, it does not, so we have no number above the 4. 7 goes into 49, it does, and so our first value that we're going to record is above the 9. 7 goes into 49 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49, and then we subtract. We get 0, and now we have to bring down the other 0. 7 goes into 0, how many times? 0. 0 times 7 is 0, and we subtract. Now we are going to bring down the 2. 7 goes into 2 0 times. Okay, 0 times 7 is 0, and we subtract, and we get a 2. And finally, we're going to bring down the 1. 7 goes into 21 3 times. And we're all done. We're all done because we've run out of digits to bring down. Okay, so we think that 49,021 divided by 7 is 7,003, but let's go ahead and check. I want to look at 7,003 times 7 and see if we come back to our dividend, 49,021. Okay, so 7 times 3 is 21. Put the 1's digit down and carry the 10's digit, the 2. 7 times 0 is 0 plus 2. 7 times 0 is 0. And 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, and we are done with the multiplication, and we see that that all lines up. Okay, great. So we want to do another kind of division problem. We want to do a division problem that that uses remainders or that has remainders in it. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. All right. So I would think about, just to get the terminology on the board, 83 divided by 10, okay, and that is going to be, so we'll start with our words. This is the dividend, and this is the divisor. And what we know is, and I'm going to just do this here. Sometimes I do things before I introduce everything, but then I'll circle it back around. 10 goes into 83, 10 goes into 8, it does not. 10 goes into 83 8 times. 8 times 10 is 80. here's a 3, I have no digits left to bring down, so 3 ends up being our remainder. So what we have is that 83 is 10 times 8 plus 3. So we know that 83 divided by 10 is going to be written as an 8 with a remainder sure I'm using the same exact notation in your text. We'll put it here, so 10, 83 divided by 10 is 8 with a remainder of 3. Okay. And so one way of thinking about all of these relationships and how they come together is that we can say that 83 is equal to 8 times 10 plus 3. And I just want to label all the parts of the statement that I just made. So this is my dividend. 8 is my 10 is my divisor. Right? Because it was the thing that was sitting out here. 8 is my quotient. And 3 is my remainder. Okay, so 83 is the quotient times the divisor plus the remainder. Great. All right, let's do a problem that has more digits in it. Okay, so we want to find these can get long. I'm going to erase the board. So find the quotient and check. $23,399 divided by 4. Okay. So we have our little division house, a little division box, and we're going to put the dividend in there. Keep the commas out. There's enough going on inside the box. We don't really need the commas in there. And we're going to divide 23399 by 4. Okay, ready to go. Does 4 go into 2? It does not. Does 4 go into 23? It does. It goes in 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And we subtract. We get a 3 here. And we're going to bring the next 3 down. So that's this guy right here. All right, so 4 goes into 33. 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 goes into 33 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32. And we subtract. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. And now we're going to bring down this 9. And 4 goes into 19. See, 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16. So 4 goes into 19 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. And we subtract and we get a 3. And our final digit comes down. And it's a 9. So 4 goes into 39. How many times? We said 4 times 8 was 32. 4 times 9 is 36. So that looks good because 4 times 10 is 40 and that's too big. So 4 goes into 39 9 times. And we're going to say 9 times 4 is 36 and subtract. We get 3. So it's 4, the answer is 5,849 with a remainder of 3. Okay, so to check, what we need to do is multiply 5,849 times 4 and add the remainder and see if it brings us back to our dividend. Okay, so let's go ahead and check. Okay, 5849 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 3 is 12. And 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 8 times 3, 24, 25 with the 1. And 5 times 3 is 15. And I just multiplied the wrong thing here, okay, guys? And I'm just going to redo it. So I was multiplying by 3, but in order to check, I have to multiply by 4. So you'll excuse me, please, and we'll just go ahead and jump into that check again. Follow my notes this time. 5, 8, 4, 9 times 4. Okay, 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 4 is 16. 19, carry 1. 4 times 8, 32, and 1 is 33. And 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. And now what I need to do is add the 3 and see if it brings us back to the original number. And it does. So yes, so we are all set. We checked, we divided, and we checked, and you saw me do something which I didn't do on purpose. But the truth is that sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes the errors are in the check. So if things don't come together, you have to just keep looking and trying, but the error might not be in the original problem, it might be in the check. Okay, sorry about that, but I guess it is kind of, kind of reality. We all make mistakes here. Okay, so we're gonna do another problem. And I want to go to a 4-digit number divided by a 2-digit number. Okay. So we are going to go to let's go to this next. It's not the next example in the notes. I'm skipping one. Okay, so 2,194. Divided by 37, we're going to do the division and then we're going to check. Okay, so let's write it up. 37 on the outside and 2194 on the inside. Does 37 go into 2? It does not. Does 37 go into 21? It does not. Does 37 go into 219? It does. But how do we know how many times? Well, I I recommend that you get an organized, like you organize on the side of your problem, some guesses. So let's think about what is 37 times 3? 111. Well, that's really too low. Maybe we can jump up to 37 times 5. 185. Well, maybe that's right, but I'm not sure. So let's do one more. And the reason why I'm leaving this, I'm going to leave this quote scratch work there is because I'm going to go back. I'm doing a whole problem with 37. So I want those numbers easily accessible because after I figure out how many times 37 goes into 219, I'm going to have another question about how many times 37 goes into another number. So we definitely want to hold on to this work. And so let's go ahead and try 37 times 6 and see if 37 goes into 6. I mean, if 37 goes into 219 6 times. So 37 times 6, 7 times 6 is 42. 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, 222. So we have these numbers and we see that we want to figure out, we want to take 37 into 219 as many times as possible. So it's 5, because if we go up one more time, it's too big of a number. So 37 into 219 is 5. And 5 times 37 is 185. Another good reason to hold on to your work on the side panel. All right, and let's do our subtraction here. And we're going to bring down the 4. All right, so I need to know how many times 37 goes into 344. Well, I know that 37 times 10 is 370, and this is pretty close. 344 is kind of close to 370, so I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna try 37 times 9. And I really would like to keep all of my 37 stuff. Well, how about we put it over here in the same little scratch box here. So 37 times 9. And 9 times 3 is 27, plus 6 is 33. Okay, so in fact, 37 goes into 344 9 times, and 9 times 37 is 333. Okay, and now we subtract. We have a remainder of 11. Okay, so let's do the check, and this time I'm going to try not to make the same mistake I made last time. So it's important to remember the mistakes you tend to fall into, because they tend to sort of happen multiple times until you realize and put a little support underneath. So I saw what my error was, and I multiplied by the remainder. So this time I'm going to make sure I multiply by the quotient by the dividend. So my check is going to be 59 times 37, and then when I'm done, I'm going to add the 11. So I'll go ahead and work through this. Okay, so I have 2,183, and now I need to add the 11, the remainder to it to see if I got it right. Okay, I got it right. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna do one, just set up one word problem, and then there's more problems in this section. You're gonna have some practice in my math lab, but the word problem says an office building has an area of 329,479 feet, and there are 9 floors. Estimate the square footage of each floor. Oh, how nice, we get to estimate. So let's write the problem down. So the area of the office building . Three, 2, 9, 4, 7, 9, and the number of floors is equal to 10, and we're looking to estimate the area on each floor. So the actual problem is going to be that we have this much area on 10 floors, so we have to divide this much area, by 9. We have this much area on 9 floors, so the actual problem asks us if we were going to find area per floor to divide 329,479 divided by 9. That's the exact problem, but I'm going to estimate, right? And use these arrows to imply that we are estimating. So the numerator is approximately 300,000, and the denominator is approximately 10. Okay, now we have an easier problem. 300,000 divided by 10. And let's go ahead and do that. Ten goes into 33 times. And we have a 0, and we bring down a 0, and we're going to keep doing this. Each time we bring down a 0, it goes in 0 times. So I'm just going to kind of write them all there because that's exactly what's going to happen. So approximately 30,000 square feet. This was in square feet. So there's approximately 30,000 square feet per floor. All right. Thanks for being with me on the video, and I'll see you next time.